Hello friends, welcome to JQuery tutorial. In this video, we are going to see how to use this object that will be helpful to identify the event origin. So here in the screenshot, you can see there are three buttons, right? User can click regular or tight or loose. So for example, user is clicking the tight button now. And here this object will denote the tight button because tight is the event origin which is producing or firing the click event. And inside the handler function, the event source or who is firing the event can be found using this keyword. So that's what we are going to learn here. Use this object to know the origin of the event or who is producing the event. In this example, the event fired is click, and any three button can fire this event, and we are going to identify that using this keyword. And we will also highlight the clicked button. So this will be useful for user to know in which text tracking mode they are in. At present, if you see, the user clicked the tight here and the texts are placed tightly. By looking at the document, they can tell that currently the tight mode is active, so text tracking is tight now. Our text decoration style is tight now. Alright, now we will proceed. In JQuery, we can refer the event source within the handler function using this keyword. So just like any other programming language, be it a C++ or Java, this keyword will refer the current object. Similarly, here when we use this keyword inside the handler function, this keyword will refer the source of the event or the DOM tree object that is producing the event. We will use $this, right? We know that to the $function you can pass some string and you can perform the filter. But when you use $this, it will denote the object that is firing the event. We will use $this within the handler function to refer the DOM element in which the event is tied or event is fired, we can say. Now let us modify our example to highlight the currently clicked button. As already told in the previous slide, it will be useful for the user to know in what text decoration mode they are in. To show the currently selected button, we will use the CSS border. And if you see, we define a rule called current button with dot. That means at runtime we can use a class attribute class equal to current button using the jQuery method add class, and we can remove that class attribute using the remove class. And the rule for this current button is border width 3 pixels and border color brown. So if you apply to this a button, a border will be placed. If you apply it to the paragraph, a border will be placed around the paragraph. But in this example, we are going to apply this current button class attribute to the button so that the currently selected button will get highlighted. It will be useful for the user to know the current text decoration style that is applied to the document. In the JavaScript, we will mark the currently selected button using the event context this. That means we will be using $this, then add class, and we will put a current button. The $this gives the currently clicked button, and we mark it with the CSS rule current button. And if you look at here, $document ready function, and inside the $ready we have $tight on click function, right? These are all the existing code taken from our previous video, and it is adding the class attribute tight set, loose set, right? On the same event, what we are doing here, there are 3 such events, right, from our previous code. We will be adding $this add class current button, right? Here if you see what button clicked is tight, so we add the class attribute current button. That means the tight button is marked with this border style. And if you look at here for loose button, we are doing the same. Our document contains 3 buttons, right? One is regular, another one is tight set, and another one is loose set. Let's assume that we are clicking this tight set button. So this is the tight set button, and we know that it will change the paragraph mode. After that, it is adding the class attribute current button. When current button class attribute is added, a border will be drawn, and you will be seeing that border here around this button, right? Because current button class attribute is added to $this. $this is nothing but the button class, right? And when user clicks the ls, a border will be added here. But if you see the previously selected button also having the border, this means we need to remove the border from the previous button. The line $text style button selects all buttons object inside the div tag. JQuery calls it as implicit iteration. $text style button, right? And if you look at here, the div tag ID is text style, right? Function is supplied with a string hash text style. That means here we are asking to select DOM element with ID equal to text style. That means here we are selecting the div. Then with a space we are stating button. That means we are stating select the element with ID text style. Then inside that element select all the buttons. So this is div select all the buttons. $text style. Then with a space we are stating button. That means attribute is button, right? Tag is button. So select button tag. That should be inside the element that is having the ID text style. So the line $hash text style button selects all the buttons object inside the div tag. JQuery calls it as implicit iteration, right? That means $text style select all the button. That means it will iterate through all the element and selects all the button and keeps it as an array. That's what this $text style button will return. So if you see $text style button, this will give all the button, and we are asking to remove the class current button. That means first we remove the border. We can take any example, tight button, right? First it will remove all the border. So the border will be removed for the previously clicked button. Then a new border is added for the tight button here. This is tight set, right? So the border will be first removed from the previous click, then new border is added. That's how we coded in all the event. We use it to remove the border from previous clicked button. Which one? This one. $text style button, right? For all the buttons inside the div tag, remove the class current button. So we don't know which button user previously clicked. So that's why here we are asking select all the button and wipe out the border. Then we know which button user is clicking because we are running the event handler. We are inside the event handler. So we add that class attribute to a specific button. So this way we mark the border for the currently selected button. Now let's go to the demo. So all we have to do now is go to the CSS style and define a new rule, current button, right? Border width and border color we specified here. Then modify the JavaScript to include two more rules. Here if you see, we are removing the class for current button and we are adding the class. So when we are removing it for all three buttons because that's the selection rule here. Then using the $this, we know that's the event origin, right? Tight. We apply the class attribute current button, and we have to do that for all three buttons. Now we will switch to HTML and run it. So when I click tight, the paragraph will be tightly packed, and at the same time a border will be placed around the tight button, right? And you know that by looking at the document, at present the text are placed in tight mode. Let me click close, and user can see that the paragraph is loosely packed, and mode also they come to know that it is loose mode because a border is placed around it. Right, let me reload this document, copy the content and open the developers tool. Right, let me click the tightly packed stuff, and here in the border you see tight set. Inside div we will be having buttons, right? And if you see for the tight button, the class attribute current button is added, right? When I click loose here, you can see what are all the changes made. A class attribute loose set is added here. Then the attribute current button is added to the loose button, and for tight button the previously marked attribute is removed. Let me do this again for the tight button, and you will see the class current button will be removed from here loose, and it will be placed in the tight button, and also here loose set is changes to tight set. Let me click here and you can watch here in this section. Right, so that's how the jQuery is working. If you need, you can even put a breakpoint and examine that. Let me copy the same content to Chrome and place this content. So elements I am keeping beside or below. Let me expand tight, and we will keep a breakpoint in tight click as well as the loose click. Let's reload this again. And I will click the tight. Now if you see, when we click tight, we are adding class tight set to the body tag. Now watch here. Right, tight set is added, and you can see the text is changed, and we are removing the loose set. Loose set is not yet applied, right? You can see the body tag. Then we are removing the class for current button for all the buttons, for all 3 buttons. At present, there is no class attribute for any of the button, so this has no effect. Now, $this denotes the current object that is firing the event type, right? And this is the button that is firing the event. With $this, we know the object is type, and we add the class attribute current button. The moment we add current button class attribute, it picks the CSS attribute or the CSS style from the CSS file and applies that style to the button. Now, let me step over it, and you will see the tight attribute is added here, right? And the button also marked with tight. Let's continue this, and we will click loose. This time you will come to know how things are working. Now I clicked loose. At this moment you can see the tight border is applied here, and the paragraphs are tightly packed. User clicked the loose button. We are inside the loose button event handler. We are adding the class loose set to the body. The body already have tight set, and when I get past this line, you can see we have tight set as well as loose set attribute applied. But we don't want a tight set, right? User clicked the loose set. This tight set was added because of the previous button click event. Previously we clicked tight, right? So we need to remove. Why? Because user clicked the loose button and the event is fired and handler is running. So you have to keep in mind that the event is firing, we are running the code, and there was the effect that is done by the previous tight button click. So we added the loose set, and we need to remove the tight set that is applied because of the previous click. So when I run this specific code, it will remove the tight set class. And in the body, if you see, tight set is removed. Now we have only the loose set, right? Then we remove class for, we remove current button attribute for all the buttons using the remove class. And if you see, these are all the 3 buttons. Why? Because text style button will select all these 3 buttons, right? We are calling remove class on all these 3 buttons. Remove class current button attribute. It has no effect on this button, but when it comes here, it will remove the attribute current button. That means border will go on this tight, right? Then the remove class has no effect on this 3rd button. Let's get past this and you will come to know the border is removed from tight. Then we are adding the current button CSS attribute, class attribute, to the $this, which is nothing but the current button, which is producing the event. That means we clicked the loose and we are running the event handler for it, right? Now when I run here, you can see the border is placed on the loose, and you can see the current button class attribute is added here. So this is how you have to code, and when you are running, you can put a breakpoint like this and examine how your logic is working inside the JavaScript. Just now you saw the demo. Thank you for watching. Bye.